first full week with the team. How much of a difference does that make when you don't have a game breaking up all the training sessions?
Yeah, at least we had some time to train a few things that I wanted to start implementing. It's nice to have a few more players back as well, a few from injuries, and a bigger group where we can not just be match, post-match, recovery, post-match, pre-match all the time. So I'm pleased, and when the weather is like this, even better.
Just looking ahead to the game against Palace, Roy Hodgson always does such a good job setting up his teams, don't they? What sort of challenge are you expecting?
Every time I play there as a player, I suffer. It was always tough. It's a very complicated stadium. He's a manager with an incredible experience, and what he's doing there again, it's very impressive, and it will be tough.
Mikel, what's the injury team news ahead of this one? How are the players?
No really news. I don't think we're going to get anybody back in the squad. We have a few that are going to be 50-50 for the following game probably, but not many news.
How's Hector?
Hector is a little bit better. He trained partially today with the team, but still not there.
Back-to-back wins against Manchester United and Leeds. What do you think's changed since you took over?
Well, the first thing I wanted to change was the energy around the team and around the club as well. I think this is slightly better than how it was, or much better, I would say. Obviously, the fact that we are winning games obviously help, and as well, obviously, what I'm seeing at the training ground since the day I moved, it's much more like what I want to see.
You are the youngest manager going up against the oldest manager in the Premier League. Is there anything that you can learn from the experience of Roy Hodgson?
From Roy, absolutely everything. It's incredible how he deals with situations, you know, and to be living with this level of pressure for such a long time, the way he handles it, the way he behaves himself, the way he puts himself across, how respected he is around all the players and clubs is remarkable. So big admiration for him.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang spoke of his love and commitment to this club in the programme notes on Monday nights. Do the club intend to confirm on the record that you are opening talks over a new contract with him?
No, I was very pleased to read those comments. He knows exactly what I think about him, and obviously he's a massive player for us. But at the moment we're in the middle of the season, and we haven't discussed anything further than that at the club.
Would you intend to hold talks at the end of the season?
My intention is to keep Oba, obviously, because I know that if we keep Oba with us, we're going to be stronger and closer to winning football matches. That's the only thing.
Are you confident he would sign an extension?
I don't know, we haven't discussed that. But I'm confident that he is very happy here, because that's what he said on the media.
And in terms of potential incomings this month, you said that you are working on a few things. Can you confirm whether there will be any significant investment, or as expected, are you just looking at loan deals this month?
I don't know. I'm not expecting big things. I'm expecting big things about the players that I have at the moment, that the players that are recovering from injuries. That's the big expectations from my side are there. If we can find something to help us at the moment to go through the season in a more balanced way in certain areas, and it's helpful, we'll look at the options.
But you are actively looking to strengthen?
Yeah, we always have to be looking, because obviously we have some bad injuries that are going to be out for a long time, and we have to see if we can find options there.
And in terms of potential loan departures, just some of the younger players, what's the latest on Emile Smith-Rowe possibly going to Huddersfield?
We are assessing the situation with 3 of them. We are evaluating all the offers that they have from different clubs, what will suit them more, and if it's the right time for them to make that step. So in the next few days, we will tell you exactly what it will happen.
And just that would confirm Tyrese, John Jules?
Yeah.
And Eddie?
And with Eddie, it's the same situation. I sit down with him. I'm very impressed with him. I think it was a great challenge for him to work in that environment at Leeds. I think he's become a much better player, a much more competitive player. And then the decision to make now is whether it's better to send him again another 5 months to really realize his potential and have him ready for next season, or keep him here. But it's something that we have to discuss in the next few days.
Mikel, do you think the players will start as slow in the first half against Crystal Palace as they did?
I hope not. They haven't started slow this morning, and I hope it's not the case.
What was the reaction in training the next few days after your team talk at half time?
Very good. To be fair, they've been training really, really good. Spirit is up, the level of confidence is good, and they seem in a good place.
When you've watched the Palace games back, are you surprised at how many penalties they've had against Arsenal in a few years? And Luka Milivojevic seems to score a lot, so will you be speaking to them about how they defend against Wilfried Zaha?
One of the things to be aware, 100%. We know Wilf, the type of talent he is, and when he gets isolated in 1v1 situations, what he can do. So, of course, it will be part of the game plan.
Is he a player that you would like to have, Wilfried Zaha?
I think he's a terrific player. I think the impact he's had in the Premier League in the last few years has been phenomenal, and his ability to create chances on his own, it's unique.
Can I ask you about Martinelli? I believe he's been called up to the Brazil under-23 squad, which would mean he could miss some Premier League games. Do you plan to keep him, or are you going to let him join up with Brazil?
Well, in the middle of the season, it's never ideal players to go that type of tournaments. We will discuss with the club if that's an obligation, if that's something that the player really wants to go, and we'll make a decision on that.
And is it time for Arsenal to put a run together now in the top four? I mean, you play Chelsea in a couple of weeks, but all the sides are sort of below you or around you. So do you need to put a run together too?
It's the only option we have if you want to have the aspiration to reach that. We need a lot of games in a track, and we have to start now.
And in terms of transfers, do you think you're going to have to almost sell to be able to buy? Is that possible? And do you think Mustafi will leave?
We're not thinking to sell. There's nothing concrete at the moment on the table. As I said, I'm focused on the player that we have now, and you know, this transfer window is a little bit tricky, and things might come at the end, but I don't know in which way.
Thank you.
Okay, put a split on this, 10:30 Friday night.
Mikel,
Yeah.
It seemed a few weeks ago that Granit was pretty determined to leave. His agent said as much. Obviously that situation has changed now. Can you just explain what message you gave to him to change his mind, really?
The first message for him was I wanted to understand how he was feeling and why he was feeling that way. I wanted to hear from me my opinion on him, and that I was ready to support him. I was ready to push the club to be supportive with him too, because I thought that he could be a really, really good player for us, and he could enjoy in this football club playing under me. And I tried to convince him that way. He thought about it. He had a very positive response afterwards, and I think he changed his mind.
Can I ask about David Luiz? Because everyone's noticed a big improvement in the few games that you've been in charge. He seems to have really sort of stepped up and taken on the sort of leadership role. Is that something you've actively worked on with him?
Yes, that's what I wanted to demand to him. He's a player that has won more trophies than anybody else in that dressing room, and we have to use that in a very powerful way. I wanted him to step up. I wanted him to put all the qualities, his personality and his experience towards the team, and he made a big step forward. I'm very, very pleased with him.
He seems to be really sort of committed as well, which in the past at Chelsea there's been times when he's been up and times when he's been down. Is it the case of becoming more consistent at a later stage of his career?
I hope so. The games that he's played under me so far has been terrific. His attitude in training, the way he communicates with his teammates, you know, his desire to still learn, it's superb. So I'm delighted with him.
Mikel, can I ask about Dani Ceballos? He's obviously back fit again now. He's been on the bench last couple of games. Given that he's going to go back to Madrid, it seems, in the summer, how highly does he feature in your plans over these next few months, and what sort of role do you see Dani playing for you?
Now he's getting much closer to fitness levels that I expect from him to be competing with his teammates. Obviously, he had a long-term injury. He had an adaptation to this league. I know him really well from Spain. You know, I watch him many, many times. He's a player that can fit our style, and now he needs to make a step forward and put things difficult for me, for my selection, because I think now he's ready to step in.
When you say he fits your style, no one's really known what his best position is. Is it in the midfield too? Is it higher up as number 10? What do you see him best as?
I like him more when he's closer to the box rather than always coming deep to receive that ball. Defensively, he can play in a 2 rather than as a number 10. I don't really see him as a isolating number 10 playing with 2 holding midfielders. He's a very creative player. He's a player in the final third can cause problems. He always wants the ball. He has big personality to play, so I like him.
Mikel, have you been working directly with David at the back or the back 4?
Yeah.
You work directly with him?
Yeah. We have to, because I have to set my principles and what I expect from them in every situation on the pitch, which might be a little bit different what they did with other managers. So positionally, they have to understand what I expect from them.
I mean, because obviously over time the defence has been criticised over quite a number of years here. So what are the type of things you'll be doing with them with David that kind of gives them a better shape and get a better positioning?
Different type of drills where they are facing the ball when the ball is far from them, situation where they have to defend transition, when they are overloaded, when they're in equal numbers, when the ball is with fullbacks, what I expect from them, where I want the line in relation to the ball, not just the opponent. A few things that for us are important.
Is it a case of getting them to almost concentrate? Because there seems to be, in the past, individual lapses just for a split second. They've been happening over and over again, which don't appear to have happened so much recently. Yeah,
for me, the most helpful thing for that is communication. You are constantly communicating with your teammates around you, makes you stay focused on what is happening all the time. When you don't talk to each other, there are always moments or gaps where their focus can go, and the back 4 cannot have those moments.
Mikel, there was Pep Guardiola was asked the other day again about tactical fouls, and he told the journalist to travel to London and ask you about them. So I just wondered if that is part of your game. Oh no, because obviously the Amazon documentary showed a clip of you talking about the need for those fouls, maybe the transition and everything. Is that it's just a way of almost like boxing?
It was the wrong clip on Amazon. I will ask the journalist to go back to Manchester and ask the same question again.
Mikel, I just wanted to touch on Tyrese John-Jules. Obviously, he was on the bench a couple of times under you. How close were you to using him? In those games?
The other night, this close, because I've been very impressed with what I've seen of him in training. I really like him. And I think it was for the last minutes the other day, it was a perfect fit. We ended up making a different decision. But I considered it and I asked him to be on the bench for that day because I really believe that he can have an impact on the pitch.
Yeah. Would you see him going out on loan for the rest of the season then and kicking on as a starter for wherever he's at?
Well, I think he's got a good chance. If he needs to go and prove himself now and he needs to challenge himself, he's probably a very comfortable environment here, but he needs to get exposed, and after that we'll see where he is.
And in the under-23s, I've seen him play as a number 10 at sometimes. Is that something you'd encourage him to do as well as just being a number 9 going for goals?
He can do everything. He links really well on the ball every time he's out of the number 9 position. He's got a really good ability to do that. He reads situation earlier than others. And he's a good finisher as well, and physically he's developed in a really good shape, so I think he's a very complete player.
Go ahead, Nick, then Paul.
You said on Monday that you weren't happy at half time, and I think Alex Lacazette said afterwards that you shouted a bit and stuff like that. We know that you're learning a lot about your players at the moment, but did they learn something about you on Monday?
Well, probably they've seen something different, a different reaction from me. It's a process both ways, I think. But yes, probably a few maybe were a little bit surprised, but I was surprised too the first half.
Would you react like that every time, or would it depend on the individual?
I don't know. I think we have to react naturally depending on the situation and the context.
You seem very sort of calm and mild-mannered, but clearly there is another side to you which, if you need to sort of deliver the hairdryer.
I love winning. I can only work to win, and this is what this club deserves. And I want to be the best. I want excellence in all my players and everybody in the organization. So I will fight for that. You know, if we don't reach it after because we're not good enough, it's okay, but how we have to behave ourselves and how we have to try, at least is with that aim.
Mikel, are you surprised that there's been so much animosity this season between fans and players here? We've had the thing with Xhaka, and there was also a moment in the game with Socrates and the fans at the weekend. Is that something you feel you need to repair still?
No, I think it's very common now, and every club has its own issues. Sometimes things come within the club, sometimes come things from media, sometimes, I don't know, from social media. It's difficult, very difficult nowadays to have a one full year where everything is so smooth and perfect. It's the environment, we have to deal with that, and hopefully in a few months nobody remembers those issues.
But not good, presumably, when you have players responding to
No,
something.
of course it's not good, it's not ideal, and it creates an instability in this situation. So as much as we can avoid them, obviously the better.
Mikel, just on Eddie and Emil, would you prefer them to maybe go to Premier League clubs or Championship clubs?
I always suggest that when you go on loan, speak to the manager and make sure he really wants you, and he has to tell you exactly what he's expecting from you. If that's the case and he convinces you that you believe that is the right move for you, you have to go and prove yourself. So I'm not too concerned about if it's Premier League, Championship, if he's here or there. It's more the overall fit, and the communication between clubs, that is clear what we are trying for that player to develop in the phase that he's at the moment, and that a player is comfortable and he can see really the path that is the right one for him.
James?
I know you weren't here at the time, but there was a lot of speculation that Zaha was going to come here. It seemed like it came quite close. Do you have to be wary of facing a player like that in these circumstances, that he might be especially motivated or have a point to prove to the club that he nearly joined?
I always see Wolf very motivated against big teams. He's always ready to make an impact, and he always creates situations against big teams. I think he doesn't need that. I think he had attention from the media and everybody. I think realizes how good he's been. So I don't expect anything different against us.
You don't think he might be a little bit more dangerous, particularly in January as well? There's more speculation about moving to another club.
I always find him dangerous, the last few times we played when I wasn't here, exactly the same, and when he played against Arsenal recently, always been a threat.
Thanks all.
Yeah, thank you.